Since life first emerged on Earth, an overwhelming 99% of all species have vanished. This stark reality underscores the finite existence of every living being. Yet, despite extinction's certainty, the loss of a species always brings a profound sadness. Once a species disappears, the details surrounding its existence are often shrouded in mystery and sorrow, epitomized by poignant relics like the last known photo of the species. And in this video, we'll look at some of these photos together and talk about why these animals became extinct in the first place. The quagga is an extinct form of zebra. It is considered a southern subspecies of the plains zebra. The original description of the quagga called the animal a mixed form of horse and zebra, which reflects the external appearance well, but has nothing to do with the actual family relationships. Only the head and neck were striped in bold black and white. Towards the fuselage, the stripes became paler and merged into a solid reddish brown. It grew up to 1.30 meters tall. The quagga was widespread in South Africa and is said to have been one of the most common large mammals until the 17th century. Then the excessive hunting began, during which thousands of quaggas were shot. Farmers viewed the wild animals as competitors for food to their cattle, but the animals were also hunted for meat and leather. Quaggas were very social animals that formed large herds. The core of each group consisted of family members who lived with their original herd throughout their lives. Quaggas became extinct in the late 19th century as a result of excessive and continuous hunting. At that time, few people knew that this animal was a separate species that was gradually becoming extinct. The last specimen of this species was killed in the 1870s. The last animal living in captivity died on August 12, 1883, in an Amsterdam zoo. The North African hartebeest is the extinct nominate form of the genus Hartebeest. In the 19th century, the North African hartebeest's last distribution area was the High Atlas in Morocco and the southern mountains north of the Sahara in Algeria. In ancient times, it was also native to Libya and Egypt. The North African hartebeest reached a head and body length of 150 to 244 centimeters, and their shoulder height was between 109 to 150 centimeters. The weight was between 100 and 225 kilograms, and their fur color was light reddish yellow. The North African hartebeest lived in large herds. It most likely fed on desert vegetation as well as leaves, bark, and grass. It was mostly active in the cooler times of the day, especially in the early morning and evening hours. Their natural enemies were Barbary lions, hyenas, and cheetahs. Therefore, a sentry would sound the alarm when a predator approached. When the French occupied Morocco and Algeria, they carried out real massacres among the animals. For them, it was a pastime and sport to shoot any antelope they spotted. The last specimen was shot in Algeria in 1902. Around the same time, a few specimens lived in human care. From 1883 to 1897, the London Zoo kept a female. Another animal lived in London Zoo from 1906 to 1907. Worldwide, the last specimen died on November 9, 1923, after living for 18 years in the former Paris Zoo Jardin des Plantes. The Caribbean monk seal was a species of seal native to the Caribbean. Caribbean monk seals had a relatively large, long and robust body. They could grow to nearly 2.4 meters in length and weighed between 170 and 270 kilograms. Their coloration was brownish and grayish, with adults being more darker than the more paler and yellowish younger seals. Caribbean monk seals were found in warm, temperate, subtropical and tropical waters of the Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico, and the western Atlantic Ocean. The first Caribbean monk seal to live in captivity for an extended period was a female seal that lived in the New York Aquarium. The seal was captured in 1897 and died in 1903. living in captivity for a total of 5.5 years. In 1909, the New York Aquarium acquired 4 Caribbean monk seals, 3 of which were yearlings and the other a mature male. Through the first half of the 20th century, Caribbean monk seal sightings became much rarer. The final extinction of the Caribbean monk seal was triggered by 2 main factors. The most visible factor contributing to the Caribbean monk seal's demise was the non-stop hunting and killing of the seals in the 18th and 19th centuries to obtain the oil held within their blubber. The insatiable demand for seal products in the Caribbean encouraged hunters to slaughter the Caribbean monk seals by the hundreds. The Caribbean monk seal's docile nature and lack of flight instinct in the presence of humans made them very easy to kill. The second factor was the overfishing of the reefs that sustained the Caribbean monk seal population. With no fish or mollusks to feed on, the seals that were not killed by hunters for oil died of starvation. Surprisingly, few conservation measures were taken towards attempting to save the Caribbean monk seal. By the time it was placed on the endangered species list in 1967, it was likely already extinct. The last confirmed sighting of a Caribbean monk seal was in 1952 at Serenilla Bank in the waters west of Jamaica and off the eastern coast of Nicaragua. In 2008, the species was officially declared extinct by the United States after a very exhaustive search since the last few years. The Javan tiger is an extinct subspecies of tiger that was native to the Indonesian island of Java until the 1980s. Male animals reached a body length of 200 to 245 centimeters and a weight of 100 to 140 kilograms. Their fur had long, thin stripes that were slightly more numerous than those of the neighboring Sumatran tiger, the only living island subspecies of tiger. By the end of the 18th century, tigers were widespread across most of the island of Java. By 1850, people in populated areas of the island viewed tigers as a pest. By 1940, the tigers had retreated to remote mountainous regions and forested areas. Around 1970, the only known tigers lived in the region around the island's highest mountain, Gunung Batiri. Around 1900, 28 million people lived on the island. Annual rice production was not enough to adequately support the growing population, so within 15 years, 150% more land was cleared for rice cultivation. In this landscape, dominated by humans and their needs, the extinction of the Javan tiger was a process intensified by the interplay of multiple circumstances and events. This includes the natural forests that were uncontrolledly fragmented after the Second World War to clear land for teak, coffee, and rubber plantations, which no longer offered suitable habitat for wild animals, including the Javan tiger. In 1971, an elderly female Java tiger was shot dead in a plantation near Gunung Batiri in southeast Java. Since then, no young animals have been spotted in this last known refuge for cats. Over the next 20 years, there were numerous efforts to rediscover the tiger, but all were unsuccessful. With the support of WWF Indonesia, an investigation was planned in the Meru Betiri National Park in autumn 1992, in which camera traps were used for the first time. From March 1993 to March 1994, cameras were placed at 19 locations but failed to capture a single image of a tiger. During this time, no traces were discovered that would indicate the presence of a tiger. After the final report of this investigation was published, the Javan tiger was declared extinct.